Hey everyone, how's here? Back again with another war video. I know it's been a long time, but I want to start getting into these war videos again because I really do enjoy making them and sharing my fights with people. I know for myself, just watching war videos is a really fun thing to do, and I learn so much from watching war videos, so I figured why not just upload mine. Might help someone who wants to use some of these champs that I'm using, so yeah. But before we get into the actual fights, Chee'ilth has been a champ that I've been debating rank 3ing for pretty much ever since I got her. It's been like 2 or 3 months, and she's really fantastic, and just the fact that I can take her into war and just crush things with her has been really fun so far, because she's tactic. But moving on to the fights here, we got this negative on part 7. Pretty simple fight, to be honest with you. It's basically just combo him to death. Yeah, not too much to talk about here. The nodes don't really matter, so we're just kind of building our clarity passive up. For those of you who don't know, maybe you don't do war or you're not in high tier war, the tactic this season, essentially the defender, if they're a tactic defender, they have this, they cycle between evade and auto block throughout the fight, and they also gain some crit resist. So you can either use an auto block counter, an evade counter, or if your champ's tactic, then they can gain these little scythe charges whenever you gain a buff outside of dex, or if you get like a hit in your combo, and that essentially allows you to get this clarity passive once you reach 10 of these charges, which then bypasses auto block and evade. So it's essentially just removing the tactic, which is really nice. The scythe passive, or the clarity passive rather, will also reduce crit resistance as well. So the node, the tactic that's here is not super hard this season. It's really fun. I'm not finding it too difficult though, because once you get clarity up, I mean, the tactic almost doesn't exist really, which is really nice. Yeah, but moving on to this Terrax fight, my plan here, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go special 1s or 2s. I was kind of thinking at the start I wanted to build as many precisions as I could, so I was trying to build my special 1s up, but when I realized that I can kind of just heavy him a lot and build precisions that way, I was like, maybe I'll just go special 2 to limit the amount of armor breaks I might get, because that's just chip damage really. So that's what I end up kind of trying to do once I realize, I can just get loads of precisions really quick. But here you'll see my heavy gets resisted and he blocks my special 2. Normally I don't really spam heavies in the corner because you can get punished for it, but I was kind of just thinking, well, it's just a Terrax and I've got a special ready just in case, so it should be fine. But my officer's probably going to yell at me for that because I know you shouldn't be spamming heavies in the corner because everyone has standing ground with mastery setups now, so that was probably a dumb move and I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to build precisions. So anyways, I probably won't be doing that from now on after seeing what happened, but anyways, yeah, this fight's pretty simple. It's literally just comboing him. There's not really any tactic that we need to worry about, and there's no kind of node that's going to be really detrimental to us, so it's just getting damage really. You'll see that throughout the season I get assigned more and more tricky fights in Chee'ilth, especially those in the bleed immune variety, and that's gonna really test her bleed immune damage matchup, in terms of damage and also how well she can handle herself with utility as well. And just seeing her perform well is really cool, especially being at rank 3. The investment's definitely paying off there. Moving on to this Wong here, this is a ghost fight. It's been a while since I brought Ghost to war, but I'm really glad to have her back in action in war, especially on Hazard Shift. She just crushes it. I did put on a tech boost here, essentially just because I wanted to be able to spam specials and just make it a really easy, quick fight. He goes for special 2 here. My plan was to bait special 1s, but after seeing how much damage the first one did, I was just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just throw special 2s and bait special 2s, that's fine. And he goes down here pretty much. So, really quick fight with the power backs and Ghost just crushing war once again. Yeah, it's great to see. Moving on, we got this Jess, and I think this is a really good showing of why Chee'ilth is so good for Jess and also for the tactic as well. The main reason is because she can, just use heavies to get her scythe passives up, but also it's nice because she has cleanse, and that means she can ignore any sort of water block shenanigans from parrying, which is really nice. And then in this fight you got the hazard shift node and Jess's debuffs as well, so having cleanse to kind of remove investigation and deal with hazard shift is really nice as well. Yeah, so the game plan here was just to get clarity up as quick as possible. Once we get clarity up, we can go for special 2s to ignore some of the hazard shift debuffs. You know, it's 50% tranquilize, which is really nice. We could have gone special 1 spam as well, but I'm just thinking more on the side of safety. Against hazard shift, it's probably a better idea just to go special 2s. Yeah, so we're just going to be baiting specials here. I'm going to do some more combos and then bait a special 2. Because this fight has one eye open, my thought was just to kind of never parry because the bleed damage would just wreck me. And without parrying, you know, you can't shorten the spirit timer as much, so you got to rely on punishing specials and heavies to shorten it, which is still fine. Yeah, it just means, yeah, no parrying means less openings and less opportunities to shorten the spirit charge timer, so less opportunities to get cleanses frequently. So a little disadvantage for that node, but nothing too major. And I'm going to finish this with a special 2, which is really nice. And that's going to be War 1, all wrapped up, just 4 fights, so pretty simple. Yeah, that went really well. Moving on to War 2 here. This one is a pretty interesting one. So we got this Hulk on path 1 in section 1. This is really simple. Hulk is Gamma, so we're going to be, you know, having extra bleed potency, and if we needed to tranquilize, we could get extra tranquilize potency as well, since he's Gamma. But in this fight, it's mainly just the bleed potency. 40% is a lot, especially when you can ramp up your spirit charges as well, or if you have that grip passive up for, you know, the additional bleeds. So either way you slice it, you know, it goes really quick this fight, and she crushes it. So yeah, that was nice. We've got Odes on as well, that's for a later fight, but for now we're just gonna go in with this Hulk vs Longshot on path 2 in section 2. This is fairly simple, I mean, nothing too crazy. The reason I brought Surfer was for this fight actually. The synergy between Hulk and Surfer gives Hulk buff immunity, and that means that Longshot can't nullify randomly and get MD, and then randomly go to like a special 2 or 3 and just wreck you. So yeah, this fight is pretty simple. It's just bait special 1s and then throw a special 2 or special 3 and just kill him. Yeah, I think in this fight I wanted to go for a special 2 because I saw he was going down pretty quick, but I accidentally get pushed to a special 3. I guess I wasn't watching my power as closely as I thought I was. And I also wasn't getting very lucky with the Fury RNG either, so I just decided to go special 3 instead. And I think that was still a fine call. I mean, ideally the fight would have finished 5-10 seconds quicker, but at the same time, you know, it's nothing too major. Like, I didn't make any huge mistakes in this fight, so I'm not too concerned. Yeah. Moving on here, we've got this Jess. This is the reason I brought the Odins. Well, I got someone to bring the Odins just because EMP mod is here, and that can be a bit of a problem with the placebo node plus any dexterity buffs that you might trigger. Chee'ilth can do this fight without Odins as well. The only thing is you got to be mindful of the shocks. So you got to ideally bait special 3s to reduce the frequency that you get shocks on you. Yeah, but aside from that, she can take this fight no problem with, yeah, with or without Odins. But the game plan here is just to be going special 1s for the bleeds. We're just going for speed, essentially. Trying to get it down as quick as possible. Yeah. But yeah, as I said in the last Jess fight, the main reason I like Chee'ilth for Jess is just the cleanse charges, removing investigation. That's the main way you counter her. That's why Jabari is such a good counter. That's why Shang-Chi is such a good counter. You know, all these skill champs that have cleanse, they're all really good options for Jess. Yeah, and then also champs that can ignore Unstoppable are also really good. So look at, again, Shang-Chi. You can look at someone like Valk as one of the best counters to Jess, and then also Chee'ilth as well. She has grit, so she can ignore that Unstoppable as well if it would ever trigger. So yeah, she's one of the best Jess counters by far, and just on any node she can wreck her really well. So I was really happy with that fight. Moving on here, we got this Photon on 42. I was a little nervous about this fight, only because of one eye open. and the fact that it's a bleed immune champ as well, so Chee'ilth can't really get max damage. But as I said in the Terrax fight before, as I'm getting more comfortable with Chee'ilth and using her for different types of fights, I'm getting a lot more comfortable using her in fights that you wouldn't normally expect, and I'm kind of learning to adapt that playstyle. Using more heavies and kind of just dealing with the fact that the fight is going to take a little longer, and you kind of just have to be patient. So that kind of comes into play here a little bit. But one thing I didn't expect was just how much damage the special 2 would do, because that allows you to get back to nearly no special 2 pretty comfortably. So we're able to kind of throw special 2s really frequently here, and it's kind of nice for the tranquilize, but honestly it's just the damage that's really why I like it so much. The fact that you can just throw special 2s and get loads of damage off is really good. But here we're going to wait out pure light form. We can just block her special 1s in pure light form and parry the last hit, and it's not going to deal that much damage because of Chee'ilth's attack rating cap into block, but it doesn't really matter. Kind of any way you want to slice it, this fight isn't too difficult. With Chee'ilth, it's pretty safe. It's basically just being patient and getting your damage off when you can. Yeah, being patient, baiting special 1s, because that's safe. And then throwing your special 2s for the tranquilize and for big damage as well. Yeah. Okay, closing out this fight now. We've got to bait one more heavy, counter with that, and then knock her down to remove protection. And then one more special 2 is going to finish her off, really. Yeah, so that's really nice. I was really happy with how this fight went, actually, just because, yeah, I mean, for the most part, when you don't have a bleed immune defender, your special 2 won't really crit that much, because her base crit rate isn't the highest, and it's not like Elsa's crit rate or something. And so, without those precisions, you're not going to get that much power back, so having bleed immune champs as defenders means that your power backs become a lot more effective, because you get such a high crit rate bonus. So yeah, I think I will be chucking on power boosts in most of these wars, because I'll usually have like a bleed immune defender or like a tougher defender that I gotta face. So it's really nice to have those power boosts just to kind of help out with the damage. But moving on here, we got this negative boss, and this boss was interesting to say the least. I mean, he's a really fun fight for Chee'ilth, like really fun. Just because you can kind of just play it any way you like, and doesn't matter what happens, you're going to get good results with her, so that's really nice. Going for a few heavies at the start to build some damage, and also build clarity passives as well is really nice. We've almost got clarity up now, we just got to do a few more hits. Yeah, so we've got clarity up now. We're going to be just basically baiting special 1s and just punishing. We can heavy punish whenever, but I was kind of just thinking of playing this fight as safe as possible, so I wasn't trying to heavy punish too much. Yeah, but you can see just how much the bleeds are doing. I like that her main source of damage is those bleeds, and the reason that's so good for this fight specifically is because bleeds are direct damage, so they bypass physical and energy resist, and that's great for someone like a negative boss where they get loads of physical and energy resist throughout the fight. I mean, he can remove them by dashing back and turning them into light energy, but when you got him in the corner like this, he's not really going to do that. Yeah, so I wasn't really concerned that he was going to do that, because I knew I'd have him in the corner anyway, so yeah. I mean, this fight is pretty fun with Chee'ilth. And then here, Deep Wounds kind of takes a big chunk, and he goes down. Anyway, those are my 2 wars. Really appreciate you sticking by and watching the video. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.